Today is one of those days where we just have an insane amount of news to talk about. Some great, amazing news for Nintendo that a lot of people, including myself, are thinking is going to be great for the future of physical media specifically, but in general, it's just good news for Nintendo that shows major success. And hopefully because of this, we will continue to be getting these big and awesome games from Nintendo. So we got things to talk about with everything today, including some Zelda stuff, some Sonic information, some new bundles going for sale. So of course, if you guys are brand new, I would greatly appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel and reach my goal of 11,000 subscribers. Let's see if we get today's sub goal of 15 subs. Let's hop right into it. I'm gonna start this off with this article saying Nintendo has now sold about 24 million Switch 2 consoles, which of course it already has surpassed the entire lifetime total of GameCube sales, which is about 22 million, a little under, showing that the Switch 2 is just still selling some crazy amount of consoles. And especially when we get to the games like Ocarina of Time and Pokemon Winds and Waves and the next big 3D Mario game and just other ginormous Nintendo games like Smash Bros. Smash Bros is 100% going to be a crazy system seller. They have to be working on it. There's no way they're not at least like in early development of the next Smash Bros game, because of course we know Pokemon is going to be dropping next year. We know Ocarina of Time, and then of course a 3D Mario game I think is pretty much expected, plus we have had leaks of that really happening. So I would say one of the biggest games that we haven't really had any leaks or rumors about is a Smash Bros. So Nintendo, where is it? The OG Switch is just under 157 million total units sold, which is so close to the PS2 being the highest selling console of all time, and I do think that the Switch is going to surpass the PS2. It is crazy that the PlayStation 2 has held this record for so long, but yeah, the Switch 1 is definitely going to surpass this. Could be this year or maybe early next year. Nintendo says 38.5% of their sales are still physical editions. Now, this is one of the topics in today's video with the physical and digital media, which we do have something I'll bring up right after this. This is really important because, 38.5% may not sound like a lot, especially since, a majority of that, I guess, would be digital. But still think about the amount of millions and millions of games that does go hand in hand with that 38.5%. That's a lot. That is definitely a lot, especially the fact that I think that right now we're just in a time where I could very well see physical media actually increasing because of the PlayStation 6 stuff and some of these other game developers, not really wanting to go down the physical route anymore. Saying thankfully Nintendo does not seem to set away with physical games anytime soon, as the company says that it's a healthy 38.5% of the sales are physical editions. And I think it's very safe to say that the Switch 2 will always have physical games. Of course, we'll still have some games that are digital only or game key cards, but as far as the Nintendo first party stuff, I think a majority of them will be physical games. And the Switch 2, of course, is only about a year old, so we have this console for hopefully another 7 to 8-ish years before they do drop that next Nintendo console that I am hoping is also going to support physical media. I've done many rants about physical and digital media, so I'm not going to rant about it in today's video, but there are many reasons why physical media is great, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. And on the complete other hand of that, we have Take-Two saying that discs no longer make sense. So this was during the investors meeting where the CEO of Take-Two said that discs don't make sense for the consumer. Digital is more convenient and our sales are 90% digital. I think that's just a big L, and listen, I get it. I get a lot of people like digital and that's totally fine, but it just doesn't make sense to completely get rid of physical and just do digital. But like I said, I'm not going to rant about it in today's video again. Anyway, more good news with Nintendo's sales. They actually have shown us the updated figures of the sales. I won't individually read every single one of these, but yeah, you can see, and these are some wild numbers. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was 71 million. That's literally about half of the entire Switch 1 sold console amount. Like, that's absolutely insane to me. Of course, Animal Crossing being one of the biggest games, that really makes me wonder how that next Animal Crossing is gonna do, because this game really took off because of what was happening during the time that this game did come out. So it makes me wonder if the next Animal Crossing is gonna do just as well, or do you think it'll maybe not do as well just because maybe people have moved on? I believe that next Animal Crossing will be selling a crazy stupid amount, probably will be one of the top sellers of the Switch 2, but I don't know if it'll beat this 50 million mark right here. Like I said, Smash Bros, one of the top selling games, and yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be one of the top selling games on the Switch 2 when they do make a Switch 2 exclusive Smash Bros game. Zelda, no surprise there, Mario Odyssey, and of course Pokemon So yeah, this list is pretty solid here. And some of these down here with, lower-ish numbers, it's only because these are Switch 2 games like Pokopia, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and of course the Switch 2 edition of ZA, where the comparison of the amount of Switch 2 units sold to these numbers right here is actually pretty good. So of course, as the Switch 2 sells more and more units, these games will also go up with the total units sold, which just makes sense. So good news, because Nintendo are selling some crazy amount of games, and they are still selling like thousands and hundreds of thousands of old games. And honestly, just kind of like judging based on this list right here, I think we can kind of see where Nintendo is going to want to start focusing with the Switch 2 to get that console to sell some more units. The next Sonic game to further evolve Sonic Frontiers' open zone formula, saying that it's hard to believe that Sonic Frontiers released in 2022 and all eyes are anticipating the next game in the series, saying that we actually know a little bit about the next Sonic game, saying that the Sonic team wants to build up upon that groundwork that Sonic Frontiers laid down. Basically, somebody asked the question where if the team felt if they have succeeded with the attempt at the open world kind of gameplay of the Sonic games, saying yes, I definitely felt there was something there. In the next title as well, we will work hard to achieve an evolution that meets everyone's expectations and surprises you even more. So I actually have not played this game. It was one of those games that I really wanted to play, and then when it came out, I just never got around to playing it or picking it up. So I've heard people say that the open world is a little bit kind of, I guess you could say, bland, but I've heard people say it's a really fun game and like the gameplay itself is very fun when you actually are doing stuff. But it would be really cool to see a crazy open world Sonic game that really just takes it to that next level, because I think Sonic really does need that. I love Sonic. I've always been a Sonic fan, but I have felt a little bit distant from the series and the franchise recently, besides the movies. I mean, the movies are pretty fun. And speaking of movies, we do have the cast members revealed for Legend of Zelda, at least so far. The cast members so far. So of course we know who Link is. We have known who is playing Zelda. Now reportedly we do know Ganondorf, as well as Impa, and then we have the King of Hyrule, which unfortunately this is his very last movie, which is very sad. Probably the King of Hyrule, and we know that she is in the movie. I guess we don't know the specific character she's playing. Hugo Gaming making a post saying we could see a Indie World this month. Now this is the history of the last several years of Indie Worlds, and yeah, they're always seemingly in August, so we probably will see one, and if not, then I don't know, maybe September or something like that. Would be pretty cool to see what exactly they do end up announcing though. Europe, Nintendo Store announces custom Switch 2 bundles. The European store has announced that you can now make a custom Switch 2 package where you can select a console, game, and the Switch Online membership and get an accessory added free of charge. There are a number of Switch 2 games you can add to your bundle like Donkey Kong Bonanza, Splatoon Raiders, and Star Fox, which is really cool, and this is definitely a tactic to sell more Switch 2 consoles, which is pretty smart. I mean, these are all great games, and if they're just allowing people to be picking up one of the games in a bundle and the Switch Online membership and an accessory, like that is insane. I'm low-key about to go move to Europe just to get this deal. I could definitely see them doing this in other areas as well around the world if this is a pretty big success, if they do want to sell some more Switch 2 units. Because think about it, if they're getting people in the Nintendo space with these new games, people are going to be wanting to buy more and more games, so it just will end up being a positive for Nintendo. Be fun bringing up another point that I bring up every couple of months, I would say, but basically we've heard rumors about Marvel Rivals, but we have no additional information about this game. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe the developers or people working on this game did like mention it being on the Switch and the Switch 2 or something. It's a pretty hefty game, I guess, that would be kind of difficult to bring over. I think this game is just perfect for the Switch 2, and I would love to play this on the Switch 2. It's been a while since I've grinded this game. I just know I'd be addicted to it all over again if we did actually get it on the Switch 2. And my last point I want to bring up in today's video is how Zelda Ocarina of Time Remake is going to be the first time for many people to actually be playing this game, saying Zelda is more popular now than it is then, which it is true. Zelda has always been popular, but Zelda is in a completely different light nowadays, where, think about it, there's going to be a lot of younger people playing this game that have only played maybe Breath of the Wild, or maybe even never played a Zelda game, or just fans that grew up with Breath of the Wild being like their childhood game of Zelda that are really interested in this and are going to be hearing all the hype about Ocarina of Time and how good this game truly is, that will be playing this for the first time, and I'm so excited. So that's why I'm also thinking that this game is not going to be a flop, that they will be working hard to make this a good game. But anyway, that is all I have for you guys today. I throw it off to you. I want to know your thoughts and opinions in today's video. How are you feeling about the future of Nintendo? Hope you guys have a fantastic and a blessed day. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.